Hi guys, Mr. Rivera here with Panchito. I hope you're doing great. Today we're going to be learning about Common Rules Part 4 and we're going to cover two topics. We're going to cover the date and the transitional words, okay? So let's get this started. First of all, like always, make sure that you have your materials, which is your Common Rules mini book that soon we're about to finish, pencils, pens, colors, and a novel canvas so we can see some examples. First of all, we're going to start by writing the title for today's page. It's going to be Commas in the Date. Now, we know that for commas in the date, we always put a comma after the date and after the number of the date. That doesn't happen in Spanish, so be mindful of that. And the thing is, okay, so we know how to write the date, but how does that look if it was inside of a sentence or inside of a paragraph? Well, you will have your sentence as always and then your date the same way that you would write it, but instead of having a period at the end, that period will be transformed into a comma. Remember that it doesn't matter if the sentence begins with the day of the week, you will still need to capitalize it. Capitalize the day of the week and capitalize the month that you're talking about. So let's take a look at the example and make sure to write it down. Today, Tuesday, April 7, 2020, we will learn about commas. So over here, instead of a period, please make sure that you put a comma after 2020. Once again, make sure that you put a comma after 2020. Let's get to continue. Now, commas for transitional words. You may remember about a lemonade activity that we had not that long ago. Well, that's what we're talking about. Every time that you're going to use a transitional word, make sure that you are using a comma to separate it. Usually, these transitional words begin your sentence. They will not always do it, but most of the time will. So take a look at this first, then first, next, then, after, and finally. Make sure that after those transitional words, you add a comma to separate the rest of your sentence. So that's the lemonade I was talking about. So those are the words that we use when we wrote the recipes for the lemonade that we created in the classroom. Now let's take a look at this. So we're going to go to page 5, and I have over here 2 sticky notes at different parts of the pages. Here we have at first. Notice the word first, then you have a comma. You're not always going to use a comma after first. You're just going to use it if first is being used as a transitional word to give order to the paragraph or sentence. At first, Mom didn't notice. Notice over here that then it says finally, and we have a comma. The author did not really needed to use all of these transitional words. They don't always have to be used in its entirety. We prefer to use them, especially for things such as recipes, but when you're telling a story, you may choose to use only a specific set of ones. Okay? Oops. Let's take a look. Then we have finally, comma. One day, Mom looked at me and said, here we have another comma, but we have a comma over here because we're about to start quotation mark. Remember that we said that we were going to use a comma for quotation marks? Well, here is one. Now, for today's assignment, what I want you to do is to share a recipe that you or your family member know. Use transitional words and use commas correctly, and add a drawing or an illustration. Make sure that you can express both verbally and by means of a drawing. What is that recipe? How does it look? How do you make it? Let's share, and the best recipes will be posted soon in our videos and in class. So text